Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Ask the Expert series, where we bring in industry professionals to give you valuable insights into the world of real estate here in Portugal. Today, we're sitting down with Dr. Marcia, a conveyancing lawyer specializing in property transactions. Thank you for joining us today, Marcia.
Thank you for having me here, and I hopefully will be able to clarify some do's and don'ts of real estate purchases.
Marcia, for anyone new to the term, could you explain what conveyancing is and why it's such a vital part to the property buying process?
It's a broad concept, although to simplify, it is uh, the steps necessary to conclude a safe and secure transfer of title of property from the name of one person to another person without having any pendencies or registries, so that the transaction is completely secure. This compromises a lot of due diligence that actually depends on the type of property you are also choosing. It comprises analysis of documents, searching sometimes for documents, drafting documents, and a lot of negotiation between parties.
And what are some of the common steps involved in conveyancing when buying or selling a property in Portugal?
The common steps, and sometimes most international buyers are not aware, is that to purchase property in Portugal, it is mandatory to have a NIF. That's the first step to purchase property. And also be aware that if you're not a member of the European Union, you will also probably have an additional cost in purchasing property because you will need a fiscal representative. But the most vital at the moment is having updated documents and having knowledge of exactly what you want to purchase.
Fantastic. Portugal is clearly a popular destination for international buyers. So, what are some specific legal considerations that foreign buyers should be aware of when purchasing a property here in Portugal? You mentioned the NIF. Is there anything else?
There is, beyond the purchase price, you have to be aware that your fiscal obligations do not cease with the purchase. You have to add to the purchase price the price of IMT and stamp duty, and also know that every year you are liable for property tax. So it's just not coming, securing the amount, and buying the property. You continue to have other legal obligations to the Portuguese government when being an owner in Portugal.
And many people might not realize all the ways that lawyers can support them within a property transaction. What are some of the key services that you can provide to buyers and sellers throughout the process?
Throughout the process, what we can provide as services beyond the initial stages of obtaining a NIF. The most important is the drafting of the promissory contract of purchase and sale that will secure the position of the promissory buyer and also the seller, so that you are fully aware of the terms and conditions, payment scheduling, and very important to be aware of the consequences of default, because we do have a specific regime for promissory contracts in Portugal, so that the client is completely aware. We draft the promissory contract of purchase and sale and explain in detail what he is entering into in terms of legal obligations.
And what do those legal obligations look like?
The legal obligations have to do with the contract being binding. So if you compromise with a completion date, this completion date has to be fulfilled, or else you have the risk of default. And in case of default, if you are the buyer that is in default and also the seller, there are consequences for these defaults that basically resume to or losing your down payment or having to pay in double, if you're the seller, the amount for not completing the deed on the scheduled timeline.
And with regards to processes that you've done in the past, what are some of the common legal issues that you've seen sellers and buyers encounter? And how can working with a lawyer help them prevent those problems?
major issues also has to do with historical problems here in Portugal. Is the documents are normally not completely updated. There are risks, and most clients are not aware also of the areas. Normally, the areas that are reflected in the property's documentations lack the correct information, and also illegal constructions. We do have a lot of illegal constructions here in Portugal, so we do always advise to have a survey done on the properties so that with the documents and the information we are able to extract from the documents, we are fully aware that what is reflected on the documents actually exists on site, on location. This is something that is very important, and a step that most people do not comply with, and then litigation arises because of this issue.
Wonderful. One of the challenges in any property transaction is managing the paperwork and the timelines. Could you give us an overview of the essential documents and general timelines for completing a property purchase?
Okay. Regarding general documents, there are 3 or 4 that are transversal to all types of transactions, although it will depend on the type of property you are purchasing, because there are several types of properties that will need more documentation or have complementary or additional documents that have to be checked. But mainly, it is the land registry certificate that is very important. It is almost the historical information. It has all the information reflected on the property since it was registered. So you're also able to confirm if there are any pendencies, if there are any registries, any liens. That is the most important document. Also, the tax certificate, it has to be duly updated, where it also reflects the area, and has the value of the property determined by the fiscal services. The energy certificate nowadays is also a document that is mandatory, and you will not be able to do any sale without this document. There's a document that's not mandatory nowadays, but due to a legal experience, we still advise our clients at all time, although it's not mandatory, to present on the day of the deed. We always confirm if there's a habitation license, because we think it's important to continue to determine if that property has been duly licensed for habitation purposes.
And in terms of completing a purchase from offer to the close and signing of deed, how long would you
That will
advise?
actually depend on several factors. Once again, the type of property, and also the intentions of the seller and the buyer. Also, if you have the need to request a mortgage, then there will be we will need a bigger timeline, but you can complete a transaction between 30 to 120 days, but it will actually depend on the negotiation and the type of property. It can be quick, or it can be a little more delayed. It actually depends on several factors.
Fantastic. So thank you so much for your time, Marcia, and for these insights. It's been incredibly helpful to everyone considering buying or selling property here in Portugal. Where can our viewers reach out to you for further information on assisting them with purchasing a property in Portugal?
Okay, so they can reach us at 2 offices. We have an office in Faro, that's in Estrada de São Luís, number 26. We have another office in Almansil, in Rua Estrada de Faro. We can be reached by phone through the contact 289-101-599, and through email to lawyers@gmail.com.
And we'll put that information below. Thank you again, Dr. Marcia, and thank you all for tuning in to our Ask the Expert series. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights into the real estate market in Portugal. Until next time, we'll see you soon.